guys, okay, I was just doing a reel and I just have to show you this is what's back, and I am so thankful that everyone has been so patient because we've had, I think this blew up my DMs with when is this coming back, and we're like, okay, we can't even keep like a list, let's just get it back. So sorry it took so long, but these batches, these do take a while just because there's so much to it. We're mixing all these crazy mediums, as I always love to do, and I always blow up everybody's minds because it's so annoying, but this is really pretty in the end, right? And so anyway, so we got this beautiful combination of olive, leopard, and yellow, and you're like, how does this even go with each other? But they do, and I just love how rich it is. It's just so pretty, and I just love this little shot of yellow, and so unexpected that it's so timeless. Like, you could use it summer, you could use it all year round, and I just think it's just such a beautiful, beautiful way to wear sling. It's just a really unique idea and piece. So I really love this one. Goes with anything. You could dress it up, dress it down, use it all the time. And then if you want something like, hey, you know what, I'm not into crazy colors, the black one is amazing. Again, so many people just requesting this one, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be too boring, but you know what, it's not. I find it so rich. And again, I have a white dress on. You can wear it anytime. In the winter, you can wear it with your coats, you can wear it with camel. This would be really beautiful with navies, olives. And in the summer, I just have a black dress, or you have white jeans, perfect. White shirt, always perfect. So these are back. I can't even speak today. And what else is going on? I know I had a request for me to pair the yellow. We only have a couple of these left, and I just love this one, the yellow with the pink. Barbie's coming out, so I think this is going to be amazing for Barbie, right? So, most popular strap that goes with this guy, I would say, for sure, something neutral, like a, one color, solid color. If you want just the one color, and you're crazy, you want to do yellow with orange, like this is so juicy for the summertime. I actually love that. That's probably what I would do because I love colors. I love these three colors together. As you can see, we have that on the camo, Bobby Brown bag. It's yellow, pink, and orange, which is beautiful. I know that I've seen a lot of this going on for the summer, which I think is great. If you want something just a little bit classic, I would definitely just do like a modernist, which is a nice breakup, or of course, the denim, not as rich, but okay. But I think a solid would be the best. So the orange is the best. If you're not an orange girl, you could go for a solid navy. You could go for a solid olive. That would be the best. The other one that I always see is the beaded strap. So any of the beaded straps go really well. So I only have a blue one out here. But we have other combinations. But as you can see, the beading does really well. It's just so fresh, right?
Yeah.
It's so happy, and I just love it. So I hope that this will help in helping you decide which strap goes with this beautiful Parker bag. I just love this bag so much. It's so pretty. Okay, what else is going on? Okay, Matt and I are still, what, Matt?
2 episodes last night.
I know. Sadly, that was now caught up in capturing home.
We've seen every episode, right?
You know, when I get obsessed about something, I keep talking about it. And I have to tell you, it has been a long time.
And you also know that I'm rarely obsessed by
Matt,
interior
this is the first time, okay? When I'm watching these home decorating shows, this is him. What are you watching? This. And he'll be like, okay. And then he goes in the other room and he's watching something else, right? But I'm like, no, you have to watch this. And he was like, oh my God. It's just, I think it's beyond, first of all, it's the relationship and it's the beauty of how Kate and Amy work together. I think that's just beautiful. And it's just that relationship, how they so understand each other, they challenge each other, and
compliment each other
they
too.
Sometimes don't agree with each other, but they come to a compromise. Exactly. And it's a lot like how Matt and I work, because I think what I see is they both come from the same space and they see things in the same way.
They have a shared sensibility.
Yes, and I think that's the key. And then they have their own viewpoints, but they're all within the same orbit. And then when it comes together, it's a really powerful, powerful result. So
it's actually funny because right now they're doing some work out here with this scaffolding. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember that episode where they
Yes.
took that reclaimed scaffolding wood and
That's
made
right.
amazing
And they
pieces
made
out of it.
amazing pieces for the
Table.
outside.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So
clever.
beyond, I can't even tell you how much I love the show, and I really would love everyone to watch it because I think it's so inspiring. I think yesterday I was really inspired by...
You were extra inspired by the kitchen episode.
Yes, and it wasn't that, obviously, the result was insane, so I was really inspired by what aesthetically it resulted in. But I was truly inspired by how Amy and Kate are as people. It just showed me so much about perseverance. And when they were going in and, first, it was interesting because I get like this sometimes, Kate was doing her own kitchen. And so it's weird because then when it's your own thing, you're like, what am I going to do? Sometimes you get like that. And I get like that sometimes too. So it's really funny. But the main thing was they figured out what she was going to do. And at first she was so clear, she's going, I'm just going to paint the floors white. And then when she got in there and they painted the floors white, she's like, oh, but the cabinets are white. This looks really boring. But most people would be like, all right, fine. It looks great. Let's get out of here. It's 80% okay, but it's not great. There's still something off. And so she was in there. She was trying different colors. And then I don't know what happened. It seemed like she was in there for a while. And then she came across the idea of let's put yellow down. And then this whole place just came together. But it took her to persevere, and the product was 100 times better than it was if you're just let's just get out of here. It's okay.
And the stripes on the ceiling.
And then the stripes on the ceiling brought the whole thing together in terms of just, I don't know, aesthetically. I'm gonna show a picture of the results, and I really would love for you guys to watch.
Too.
Yeah, and then the most insane pièce de résistance was when Amy brought her gift for the kitchen. That insane piece of art. It was her photography, and she loves orchids. But then this photography was framed inside this insane frame, and the colors were so insane. And I felt like that kitchen would not be what it is if that piece of art was not in there. That became the focal point.
And that was such
an
eyesore the way it was before.
Yeah. And
so even without her Magnolia photo, it was amazing improvement, and then that just took it over the top.
The whole thing was just, and rarely am I so blown away where I'm still thinking about something the next day. I woke up and I was still thinking about it. I was like, I can't believe my eyes, what I saw. So anyways.
It's transformation.
I ask Matt. It's there's very few things that get me crazy.
With where instead of replacing all the cabinets, they put a plywood cover.
So creative, creative, and so not wasteful. So everything that Matt and I are about, where it's what can we do? And it really reminded me yesterday. We've been working on trying to tell our story. We're updating our website, and Matt and I were talking about how we started the first Mimi bag, and the Mimi bag, which is this guy, was the first bag Matt and I did. And we were recalling the story, and it was kind of the same thing where we kind of had to use sticks and stones, but sometimes sticks and stones thoughtfully used and really creatively used become something really beautiful. And so we were talking about the Mimi bag and why was it just a canvas tote, and why was it 2 leather straps that were nude. And honestly, we'll send you the link to how we started this company, but it was honestly that this bag started, we didn't have any money for samples, didn't have any money to make a tech pack, and none of that. And so this bag was born out of complete sticks and stones. The first sample was made by the lady who hems my pants at the dry cleaners. And then fabric wise, it was fabric purchased at Joann's that Matt and I had to stand in line for with our 50% coupons. And the 2 straps were made from leather strips. That was the only thing Matt could cut by hand. And then we were like, how do we put the handles on? And he's like, well, there's one thing, they're called rivets. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's all we can do. And he's like, I could buy a hammer and these rivets. And then, did you have to punch the holes?
Yes.
How did we do that? I don't remember.
I had punches that I had to hammer to make the hole. I had a template, right?
Oh, the punches, that's right.
Yeah.
And then it made the holes.
First I had to cut,
that's
you
right.
had the big sheet of leather, I had to cut the strips, then I had to cut them to length,
that's right.
then I had to punch them, then I had to
That's right. That's right.
rivet
And
them.
we thought, okay, we could do this for 10 to 20 bags. And then when fortuitously, this bag, we sent it out to the editors and they all went insane over the bag. We're like, uh-oh, it's
Remember
Christmas,
we
what do we
wrecked
do?
our kitchen counter
Oh, there's holes in our kitchen counter.
from hammering.
Then we were like, okay, how do we get these strips? Because Matt cannot be cutting strips. And then so I think we went through like Craigslist, and my God, the places we went to get. Remember that
Yeah,
one
we went
man?
to like a leather guy who makes like whips for
Sex
certain
toys.
fetishes.
And
yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay, first we get there and I'm like, where are we, Matt? Thank
Yeah.
God Matt was with me. And then he's like, yeah, like it was out of
He
like,
was
it was
living,
out of a,
He was living at home with his mom
It
in a
couldn't
really
be-
shady part of Oakland.
yes, like he lived with his mom. He was, I think, in the basement. And then I was so innocent at the time. I'm like, oh, well, these are great. And it was like these giant.
Cat of nine tails.
Yes. And I was like, what the hell? And so I was,
And he was like, really?
and then Matt was still like, Matt was laughing and I was still like playing around with these. And I was like, these are awesome. These for horses? What's going on? And then later when we left, Matt's like, Irene, those are not horse whips. And I was like, what? So anyways, I was like, oh my God, get me out of here.
Yeah.
So that was one guy we interviewed. But I don't even remember how, but somehow you just have to, it's like the story with Kate and Amy. It's just like persevere. You got to keep going until you can figure out who's going to cut these strips for us. Even when the strips were cut, we still had to bang those on our, like put the rivets in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. So anyhow, that's the story of the bag. I had to segue into that because it's all about just using what you have and really believing in things that you feel strongly about. So to this day, I feel strongly about canvas. Like there's nothing more beautiful to me than canvas. Canvas is just beautiful. The color of the canvas is always in this natural form. It's not white, it's not bleached when it's natural canvas. I love the seeds in the canvas. And I just love the idea of the fact that canvas can be used for clothes, but the main thing why it's used is for when you're painting and you put it and people are stepping all over it. And I find that so beautiful. And so that's why when people often ask me like, how can I clean this canvas bag? Or like we have this new Alexis bag and it's a natural canvas. And people ask like, okay, well, what do I do when it gets dirty? Well, the canvas that we choose is pretty heavy. So you can really just take a eraser to it, which I do sometimes. I take a light sander sometimes if it's dark. And sometimes, most of the time, I don't mind that it gets a little dirty because that's what canvas is used for anyways. So, and I love it when canvas gets really tattered and worn, like your old LL Bean bags that have been in your life for like 20 years sometimes. Those are the best ones. So
Those like back to the sanding. I found those. You can get them at Home Depot or hardware, or whatever. They're sponges coated with sandpaper.
Very, very light
Yeah.
sanded, and you just kind of rub it on and it comes off.
Starts super light.
Yep.
And often it'll come right off.
Yep. And then Chloe just throws these in the wash. She's pretty hardcore.
Even with a leather handle, right?
Yeah, so you have to kind of straighten it out when it comes in. She puts a towel in the bag because when you wash it gets wrinkly.
Oh, that's interesting.
So she puts a towel to make the form back, and then it dries in that form. Pretty nice.
Buyer beware. I mean, it'll,
Yes,
you don't
but-
want to do it with these painted
Yes,
canvas.
or the most safest way is just take it to your dry cleaners
Yeah.
and have it just periodically spot cleaned.
Yeah.
So
If
anyhow.
you're nervous, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it if you're nervous, but it's like, and then when Amy and Kate, I love brass, and as you know, all of our jewelry is
That
brass.
patinaing they were doing is with the vinegar.
Yes,
So
so
great.
they had this formula, like, because brass does change colors, like, okay, so here's an example of brass. So this is my brass ring, and it's been on me for a while, so you could see that this is patina, and then a new brass ring is this shiny, so you can see the difference. Of course, I always love what this looks like, and I always strive to get this. So, people ask me, like, and they're so shocked that I'm okay with saying our jewelry is brass plated with gold plating on top. And for me, that's what I prefer. I've always been attracted to brass jewelry, and even when I collect jewelry, I always tend to gravitate towards brass jewelry because it is so beautiful when it is patina, and it just gets to this color where it's just not really gold, not really shiny, kind of worn, and it's just beautiful because it's different for everybody depending on what your oils are on your hands. And I think it's just so beautiful and so wonderful. So they have this formula where they take brass. So that's why it's so funny, because when we were doing our kitchen and I just couldn't find it, and I didn't think of the fact that you could actually kind of screw it up with just vinegar. So I was trying to look for vintage brass hoses for our kitchen, but then I was like, I don't know if this is gonna screw everything up. So now I'm inspired to buy some, and maybe I can experiment with this weird brass vinegar concoction to make it old looking. So anyways.
They look great.
They look so cool.
And they keep changing. It's like, you know why I think we like it? It's like our handles on the bags.
Yes, it just gets darker, right? And and as you use it, it gets darker with time, depending on. Yeah, and it's your own thing, and that's why we love the butterscotch leather. Again, same thing, and all leathers. All the leathers. I'm so attracted to the leathers because the more you use it, the more it just has its own personality. I resonate with the way they described it too. They're like, look, reserve budget for the hardware in your kitchen because. Yeah. You don't want it to feel plasticky or because you're touching it all the time. It's so true. And you're looking at it all the time. Those are things that you invest in, and I think that's so true. And I think, but then I love the fact that you're investing in something that has been worn. And I think that's so beautiful. And it was beautiful in someone else's home at one time, and now you get to use it. It has a story and personality. Yes, and I love that. I love that so much. And I've been collecting vintage stuff since I was like, I don't even know, garage sale days. I'm obsessed, and I still am obsessed, and every weekend I still go. I have to show you that Kenya thing. Yes, oh my God. That's insane. We're going to Kenya. Yeah, I might have found like a vintage hack, but apparently like all of the stuff that you donate in these boxes goes around the country, a ton of it ends up in Kenya. I mean, seriously, I would just be like, I'm not leaving. Can you imagine if you flew halfway across the world to go to like vintage stuff? I would. And that's why also denim is another huge medium I use, because I love denim. Denim becomes its own thing. It gets better with time. You get the whiskers, it gets beaten up. You may have a hole in it and you can patch it up and it looks super cool. So denim is something that's always on our line, and it's so funny because now I look at, because we've been having to discuss with trying to tell our story, and I'm talking about the materials we choose. It's always very authentically rough, and I find that so important when it's your bag that you use every day. So like denim, I love the camo, but it's camo that's from that the military uses on their ballistic nylon vests, that kind of stuff where it's like, we don't say it enough, but you are carrying on a camo bag that's used on a vest that our military uses. And that's why it's not some reproduction. And I love how it feels. It's hard and, and it breaks in, but it's like, again, your own thing. So, and then I think the idea of using that medium mixed with something so beautiful as like a hand-painted red leather, then you're just like, whoa, this is mind-blowing. And I think that's why I have such it's very rare where I get so excited about people that I see that do certain things, and I think I'm as excited and I'm going to be talking about these guys as much as I do about my jumpsuits from Rivet Utility. Yeah, it's the same feeling because I so understand why. We feel like we're on the same channel. Yes, and it gets me so excited. So, anyways, please watch the show and hopefully give me feedback and give those guys feedback because I think it's just amazing. So I could go on and on. More of that. I can't talk about it anymore because now I'm sounding like a crazy stalker, fan person. But my God. Yeah, it's not like we're getting paid by them or anything. No, I'm so just so inspiring and so inspired by their work ethic, by their ability to persevere, keep going until you get it to be right. And the last piece of the puzzle is, it's right because you are very, very secure with yourself. And I think that comes through with them. They know when something's wrong. They know that is off, and they know they need to fix it. And that's how instincts. Yes, and I have that instinct too, where it's like sometimes it's so stupid where the handle's just about half an inch off, but I know there's something wrong, or it's not spread wide enough, and I'm like, this looks, I don't know. And then they're like, Irene, please, come on, it's enough. But you know what? I know that if I had just said okay, it would bother me the whole time because now we're going to be stuck with 1,000 of these. So I think it's just one of those things where if and it's like that's how I feel about dressing. Before you leave where this is not feeling right. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you need to really trust and utilize that feeling into other aspects of your life. Where you feel like I can't decide if I want this couch or this couch. I think just go back and just be like, which one looks good? And when we're shooting photos, sometimes you get 100 of the same shot. but there's only one that you kind of gravitate towards, and I don't know why, but it just happens, right, Matt?
Yep.
And luckily, Matt and I always, maybe 100, like 90% of the time, we come to the same picture. It's really weird. We both like it, or we might something close to it, and then we're like, okay, well, is this one or that one? And then we'll agree on one. But it's interesting, and it all goes back to you just know, you have a feeling. So when you're dressing, it's the same thing, or a bag where it's like, which color do I choose? I think you kind of know. So anyways, trust that. Thanks, guys. Bye.